Super interesting, huh? Definitely a lot going on. Definitely a lot going on. And the reason that this film, I think, has been a footnote, an asterisk in the genre is because, one, it's definitely multiple genres. And I think largely it's very much in the vein of cosmic horror. But also it's one that just doesn't get talked about as much because the ending, the last third, is really divisive. When this film came out, people were really split on the ending. I don't even know if really split is the right way to describe it because I think most people kind of hate the ending. And I think they don't give it the title of a masterpiece or even really consider it in the genre because the last third really kind of feels so different in tone and style. And it feels like then it becomes a slasher and it just doesn't seem like it fits in with the rest of the film. It almost feels like it was written and directed by somebody else. So I get that the ending drives people nuts. It's certainly what drove the critics nuts and why and why I think it doesn't get chalked up to be a classic. But look, I think it's misunderstood. I think films don't always have to have great endings to be classics. There are plenty of examples of, I think, classics that don't necessarily have the strongest endings, but there's an interesting theory about the ending. Okay, so you have Pinbacker, who there's a lot of what he represents, and I think according to Danny Boyle, who's the director, he represents fundamentalism. He represents the most extreme side of religion because one theme in this film is science versus faith. It's an existential battle between science, logic, rationality, and then spiritualism, faith, etc. And so Pinbacker, who emerges as the antagonist, as the villain, is representative of fundamentalism, somebody who is completely lost themselves to religious fanaticism, goes fucking crazy. But there's a theory. Now, it's a theory. Okay. It's a theory that like some random person came up with. But the theory is that Pinbacker is Kappa. Hear me out. So if you consider that Kappa has gone crazy and actually is Pinbacker, then maybe if you don't like the ending, maybe it makes more sense. So if you look at it this way, that Kappa has become psychologically deranged because of, I don't know, being on a fucking space mission to blow up the sun in order to save humanity and all of the nightmares that he's experiencing, the fear of the sun's power, you know, it's present, it's constant, and the lack of oxygen. Also the lack of oxygen potentially has driven him to the point of madness. And there are some things that this theory looks at. So namely, the computer tells Kappa that there are too many people consuming oxygen even after Trey is found dead. He's like, there's actually 5 people left. He's the only one who knows this. He's the only one on board who's told this. So that then mixed with Kappa going crazy could potentially be what leads him to develop this alter ego of Pinbacker, because we know Kappa's not a violent guy. Like, he can't do the violence himself. He votes to kill Mace, but he himself is not a violent guy. So like if he creates the character of Pinbacker, then he can rationalize killing the rest of his space mates in order to be able to complete this mission. And like Boyle does not show Pinbacker in the same shot as any of the other characters unless he's obscured. And so that could just be something that he stylistically chose, but could be because Pinbacker is Kappa. Kappa is Pinbacker and Pinbacker is Kappa. And the another part is that like he knows that Mace can physically overpower him because we've seen it happen twice. So that's why he does the thing where he fucks with the coolant tank. So he knows that Mace will then have to go into the coolant tank, but whoever does that then will die. Anyway, that's just one theory. That's just one theory, which take it or leave it. Take it with a grain of salt. You know, if you want to look more into it, if that intrigues you, then do that. But yeah, I think it's a little convoluted, a little messy. And I don't think at all that that's what Danny Boyle was going for. In all actuality, here's what I think happened. So I think Danny loves horror. And I think he probably got as high of a budget as he did because he sold this as not just a sci-fi, but also a horror. So they could tap into the horror audience, you know, the cosmic horror vibes that you feel throughout the film. So I think it's kind of classic Danny Boyle. Like there are sequences in that third act that feel like 28 Days Later. You know, I think maybe Danny likes religious stuff. Yes, you can see shared themes in across his films, particularly when he does anything in the thriller, horror, action genre. But I don't hate it. I don't hate it as much as a lot of other people do. I think it certainly lends itself to this film being horror, being pretty scary. And also, I think the whole thing ties into Kappa's arc because he's this guy who is very based in he's very logical, he's very reasonable, he's very scientific coded and motivated by science, but he's having all these nightmares. He's having nightmares about the surface of the sun. And even though he goes into the observatory, sometimes he's not as like in awe or intrigued or as inspired by the sun as some of the other characters are. And so he's motivated by unflinching logic throughout the film. He's a scientist, right? He's motivated by logic. But at the end, you see almost this acceptance of something that is greater than him. And so this film is very much looking at the intersection of faith and science, seeing how these two come into conflict, how they battle with one another. And you see throughout the various characters and where they fall on the spectrum of faith versus science. And then Pinbacker, who is representative of the danger of total fundamentalism. But I think Kappa being representative of having the necessary arrogance of a scientist who is trying to fix the planet and save humanity, but also the realization that there are things in this universe that are so much greater than us, and that as much as we can know, we will never know all. And it's like the understanding of our insignificance in the face of endless, vast space and something like the sun, and how he found peace in that. It was like he found peace at the end as he's surrounded by as he's surrounded by the sun, in the same way that what's his name, Searle, who's the psychologist on board, he is a character who's much more on the like faith side of the spectrum, and he finds peace in taking in the sun. Like he's very in awe of it. We are all stardust. Exactly. We really are just ants. And let me read this to you. So here's Danny Boyle versus Alex Garland's approaches, the various approaches. Alex Garland said he wrote Sunshine as a film about atheism. He expanded on the subject in the introduction of the Sunshine screenplay. A crew is en route to a godlike entity, the sun. The sun is larger and more powerful than we can imagine. The sun gave us life, and it can taketh it away. As the crew travel nearer to the sun, the majesty of the burning star fries their minds. The crew are hypnotized by it, or baffled by it, or driven mad by it. Ultimately, even the most rational crew member is overwhelmed by his sense of wonder, and as he falls into the star, he believes he is touching the face of God. The sun is godlike, but it is not God, not a conscious being, not a divine architect, and the crew member is only doing what man has always done, making an awestruck category error when confronted with our small place within the vast and neutral scheme of things. But Danny, who is not atheistic in the way that Garland is, felt differently. He believed that the crew were actually meeting God. And it's interesting that they had these two totally different approaches. But as Alex Garland writes, the difference in our approach wasn't in conflict with the way in which the story would be told. The two interpretations that could be made from the narrative were the same two interpretations that could be made from the world around us. Yeah, and I think Danny, as the director, is very interested in the visual aspects of that, whereas Garland, as the writer, is interested in the philosophical nuances, which obviously, you know, in the dialogue and all the characters. And I think I think it's really interesting because you have this mission where they have to blow up the sun and create a new sun, create a new star, or else humanity will die. And the sun is both the giver of life and the taker of life. And since the beginning of time, people have worshipped the sun. They have idolized and worshipped the sun. And they view it as like as this transcendent celestial thing. And I think it's not just in this film the conflict between faith and science, but also humanity versus nature. I think that's a big theme in the film as well, is humanity versus nature, humanity versus humanity. If you take Pinbacker to not be, you know, Kappa God mad, and humanity versus himself. Yep. Mm-hmm. It's the hubris of mankind versus the hubris of God. If we save God and killed the devil, Pinbacker, what do we become? Do we become God if we can save the God? Sun, like Icarus, they flew to the sun, but they did not fail because science saved them. Yeah, very funny to name a mission Icarus, which is based on a myth that famously is about a boy who flew too close to the sun and his wings burned off, which is an allegory of human hubris, of greed and hubris. And so I think it's not coincidence that they named the first mission and then the second mission after that. I think they should have named the movie Icarus instead of Sunshine. I don't know. I like Sunshine. I like Sunshine because Sunshine is this thing that I think conjures up positive, warm, no pun intended, feelings You know, Sunshine, it's like very optimistic. It's very optimistic, even though the whole movie is very bleak and very psychologically, very psychologically messy. And, but at the end, you know, the mission was a success. Everybody died, but humanity lived. The Sunshine movie title for this film is subtle because I think that is the optimism at the end. You know, it's like for a film that's filled with so much suspense and tension and horror um and is very bleak. It's like at the end they do manage to complete the mission and there is sunshine again. They made the sunshine again. Yeah. Interesting factoid. Danny Boyle confirms that Pinbacker murdered Trey, staging the death to look like a suicide while Trey was found dead in the crew's quarters after the vote to execute him. 2 scalpels were missing from the drawer, one of which was taken by Pinbacker to kill Trey before he could be executed. But what about the theory that Pinbacker is Kappa? Well, I guess that could maybe still fit. I'm just kidding. I don't buy into that theory, but I still think it's interesting. Also, Sunshine is about life. They are fighting for life itself. Yes. The film was initially supposed to be a trilogy. I wonder if a sequel will ever be made. I don't know. Probably not. They almost landed a franchise. They wanted to continue with the story. Alex wrote 2 other parts. It was supposed to be a trilogy. I don't know. I kind of feel like we're good as it being a standalone. Maybe Alex Garland is not to be trusted with writing a trilogy. He only wrote an outline, but it was a planetary trilogy. It was to do with the sun itself with 2 other stories. While Boyle added that he couldn't remember the plot in enough detail for the other 2 slated films, there was an extraordinary idea in one of them that involved the concept of looking outside and moving. However, the ideas were partly scrapped because Sunshine underperformed at the box office. We might well have done it. Yeah, the movie did no business at all. Boyle also recalled how he tangled with 20th Century Fox over creative differences on the film. I remember Tom Rothman, that's my old boss, then Fox film chief, who is the reason you can only watch 28 minutes of 28 Years Later today. I've had a number of fights with him over the years. Boyle said of working in with the studio exec. I remember him watching Sunshine, and I remember him saying, the only hope you offer, Danny, is that little green plant shoot in that burnt out oxygen garden. There's a little green shoot and you think there's hope and Michelle Yeoh sees hope. Then you kill her. In that moment, you kill her. You can't do this. Anyway, I remember a big blowout with him about that. As far as for his continued collaboration with Garland, Boyle said, what's interesting is Alex has a natural instinct as a storyteller to want to tell these expanding stories. And that is why 28 Years Later wound up as a trilogy. Well, as I said before with Alex, he is a director who I think his strengths are also his weaknesses. And he definitely swings big and he has these big, bold ideas, but he doesn't always hit with those swings. You will see a flash of brilliance, but not see that brilliance come to fruition. But he has a lot of interesting ideas and he creates these intriguing worlds because his premises are intriguing. But sometimes it's just stretched a little thin and there's not much left to consider. But I do think that Sunshine is one of his, I think it's one of his better films. And I think it's a story about humanity trying to save itself. And as I already said, while the crew members on board of this humanity saving mission face conflict, what comes into conflict is their relationship between science and religion and, humanity versus nature, as well as humanity versus humanity. And there's a lot of philosophical quandaries that arise. And even though the mission starts out and it's very straightforward, then shit happens. And every time shit happens, the characters they find themselves in a situation that's more than just science, like reasoning and logic. It's not going to help them always. And that's where the philosophical quandaries, what is the right decision? Is it right per what's the most logical, or is it right per what is the most moral? And how do you square up these rationalizations with these with moralizations? And you have to then meanwhile contend with all this other shit happening. You know, people like running out of oxygen, being in space, the sun being right there, in danger of being burnt alive. So I think that's where it gets really interesting, is like that broader spectrum where it goes beyond reason and science. I genuinely think it's a masterpiece. I have it in my top 3. It's the closest thing to the level of philosophical depth and existentialism as Interstellar. I agree. I think it is. I think it is a masterpiece, and I think the strengths of this film are the score. The score is unbelievable. Like that scene with Kaneda on Icarus 1, that fucking hits. Okay, that scene alone, I'm giving it masterpiece. You know, that scene alone, it is like the score swells. You see Kaneda in the face of the sun, something that he doesn't treat it with awe in the way Searle does, but he is a character who's on the more faith side of the spectrum in that he is inspired by it. And you see this acceptance, this sacrifice that he makes in that moment. And as the other characters' faces are filled with horror and distress, he looks into the sun and embraces it, snuffing him out. And the chills that I get when Searle is like, "What do you see? What do you see?" Oh, it's chilling. It's truly chilling. So the score fucking rules. And then the audio visual sumptuousness in this film. Now, visually, is it as grand as Gravity and Interstellar? No, but I think it is still masterful. And I think the score really works the sound design works so beautifully with the visual elements. And here's the thing. Visuals create the world, right? It frames everything. It is an obvious, very important aspect of filmmaking, as it is a visual medium. But the audio is what really brings it home. And this is why the difference between good sound design and great sound design is the difference between a good film and a great film, because great sound design sticks with you. Great sound design is what really cements the world that you are thrust into, and is what you remember long after you've watched the film. And it's just there's so much memorable, just intricately designed sound in the film. The production is truly unbelievable. And then it's accompanied by the score, which John Murphy did the score. Adagio in D minor is an incredible song. It's used in a lot of film trailers and documentaries after Sunshine came out. A lot of other projects use that song. And then the visuals, it's just technically so masterfully done. And there's a lot of just really gorgeous cinematic moments. So it's hard. I don't know. Even if you're like, yeah, but I hate the fucking ending. It's like, well, okay, but how about the rest of it? You know? How about the rest of it? The movie opens up and it sets such a perfect stage because there's this really dramatic slow pan into the sun, and we open with Cillian Murphy, and the sun gets bigger and bigger and bigger as it's passing us, as we're rotating around it. And then you realize that you've actually been seeing it through the refractory shield of Icarus too. And you have not even seen the strength of the sun in its fullness. Like, you're just seeing it through the refractory shield, and just kind of the magnificence of that, and the realization of holy shit, that's just the reflection. That's just off the refractory shield. Yeah, it really sets the tone. And so, you know what? If you, I'm not gonna fight people on the ending. If you don't like it, if you're like, this just kind of felt out of place for me, sure. But I mean, come on. Everything else though, and then the costume design, that is the coolest fucking spacesuit I've ever seen in my life. Also, anonymous gifter, thank you so much for the gifted. That is hands down the coolest spacesuit. We're talking the 24 karat gold Labubu spacesuit. Dripped out. The performances are great and they carry the film a lot, but they are hilariously bad portrayals of scientists and astronauts. Well, they did have actual experts working on the film, namely Brian Cox, who's a physicist. He worked specifically with Cillian Murphy. They used quite a few scientific advisors, futurists. They had astrophysicists. They had people who worked at NASA. Not Brian Cox, the diva. Not Brian Cox, who's out here talking shit on everybody. Brian Cox, the lesser known Brian Cox, who is a famous physicist. Well, famous, I mean, I guess as far as physicists go. I just don't see how you can give this above a 610. I just disagree. I totally disagree. I just think it is, and like I said, I'm not going to fight people on the ending. I don't need to die on that hill, but I think it's a classic. I think it is. I just think it's so masterfully done with the elements that I described. And I also think, look, this is not a straightforward sci-fi film. Okay. There's a lot going on here. And do I think all of it always works? No. Do I think this is definitely one of Alex Garland's better films? Absolutely. I think it is ambitious in its philosophical questions and themes. And it doesn't always line up well with the action and the thriller elements of the film. It doesn't always work, but I think it's just a really unique film in the genre. And the other part of it is that it's definitely Lovecraftian as fuck. And I love cosmic horror. I love Lovecraft. And I think that existential dread, I think that fear of the unknown, and when you are in space, there's so much unknown. And I think it's like the realization of humanity's insignificance in the vast unknown that is equally terrifying, but also reassuring. Like, to me, I'm not a very spiritual person, but I'm also, I don't think like Kappa. And there is something beautiful about the realization that we are insignificant in a universe that is totally indifferent to us. Have you seen The Expanse? I have seen season 1 of The Expanse like 5 times. The feeling of sublime. Yeah. Yeah. It is sublime. Only the first season. Yeah, I don't know why. Will and I have watched that show so many times, but for some reason we've just never gotten back on 6 out of 10 is solid. I was not shitting on it. Oh, okay, that's fair. I mean, look, you've the first okay, the first 2/3 of the movie is a solid 8 out of 10. The last 2/3 kills it. No disrespect. I get that. I get it. I get it. I think the other thing too is that when I saw this film, I had never heard of it. Like I was not aware that Danny Boyle had made a sci-fi film sandwiched in between 28 Days Later and Slumdog Millionaire. I was like, well, that's random, but okay, I'm going to watch this because Will Neff loves this movie. I'm surprised he hasn't watched this for film class. Maybe because it's just never popped up, but he loves this movie. And he was the one who's like, I was trying to find something one night and he was like, have you seen Sunshine by Danny Boyle? I was like, no, I've not even aware. So I watched it and I think I was just kind of shocked. I was like, God damn, how has this been hidden in the shelves of sci-fi films? And I do think it gives it that sleeper hit kind of status. You know, it's like it's very sleeper find. And look, the score, you know, the score. That scene with Hiroyuki, it just fucking hits. It just hits, you know? Should I watch 28 Days Later? Never heard of it till now? Yes. 100%. Another one like that is Moon. Also a film that we have watched for film class. Excellent. Sam Rockwell is incredible. I cannot believe he was not nominated. Caroline, are you celebrating tomorrow? Oh my God! Y'all, my favorite holiday. Has it already been a year? I don't even know what day it was today. It's the 19th? Has it already been a year? TBT. TBT to last year when I ordered weed for the first time in fucking years. Tomorrow, we shall honor. We should also watch clips tomorrow of a year ago when I ordered weed and then had to call the weed guy like 5 times because I couldn't figure out the weed. I was like, hey, it's me again. Yes, happy anniversary. We'll celebrate tomorrow. Maple Tiggs, thank you for the raid, buddy. Hi, everybody. Hey, all my buddies. Welcome in. We just actually wrapped up watching the film Sunshine, which is a film directed by Danny Boyle and written by Alex Garland. Came out in 2007. I think it's a fucking banger and definitely one that has gotten lost in the annals, in the anals. So if you've never seen it, Sorry, you just missed it. We just finished, but go check it out. Please tell Maple that he has motion. Why? Does he think, were you guys talking about motion? Sunshine is beautiful. Dude, you are a film head. You're a film head. You're a film dude. It is gorgeous. I agree. LOL, no, I had Oliver. Oh, you have Oliver on tonight. I hope that was well, or I hope that went well. He's awesome. I had him on 2 weeks ago, something like that, and had a lovely conversation. So I hope all went well. My first and only Letterboxd review. Hansel and Gretel get baked. Anyone can make a movie. Yes. Shout out to 420 last year. Hansel and Gretel get baked. Honestly, a better film than I thought it would be. I'm like, this film is better than I thought. Can we get another weed movie night? Yeah, if not tomorrow, then soon. We'll get another weed movie night soon. You know, Linkin Park did a music video in Chester and the guys were in space and watching the sun as well. It was based on the film Sunshine. The song came out back in 2007, the same year that film came out. Wow. Chester and the guys went to space. Just like Katy Perry would years later. I don't know that song. Let me see. Let me see the music video. Sunshine by Linkin Park. Is it this? Or is it this one? Is there a difference? Oh, this is gonna hit.
I dreamed I was missing. You were so scared, but no one would listen.
Oh wait, I do know this song.
'Cause no one else cared.
I am so bad with song titles of groups that I'm not like a diehard of.
After my dreaming, I woke with this fear. What am I leaving when I'm done here? So if you're asking me, I want you to know. When my time comes, forget the one that I've done. Help me leave
Oh my god, it's just like Cillian Murphy in the movie, right at the end.
behind some reasons to be met. Don't resent me, and when you're feeling empty, keep me in your memory. Leave out all the rest. Leave out all the rest. Don't be afraid of taking my beating, of shit that I made. I'm strong on the surface, not all the way through. I've never been perfect, but neither have you. So if you're asking me, I want you to know. When my time comes, forget the wrong that I've done. Help me leave
This is hitting.
behind some reasons to be missed. Don't resent me, and when you're feeling empty, keep me in your memory. Leave out all the rest. Leave out all the rest. Forgetting all the hurt inside you've learned you had so well. Pretending someone else can come and save me from my
did I pin my own message?
Forgetting all the hurt inside you've learned you had so well. Pretending
R.I.P. Chester.
save me from myself. I can't be who you are.
Damn.
Can't be who you are.
Damn. Man, in the 2000s, we really did love songs that were like, remember me when I'm dead. I mean, honestly, that's my vibe. If I were to
Enrico
be,
Fermi is one of the
if I were to be, I don't know if I'll watch this whole thing, but this is Brian Cox. Yes, this is the physicist who worked on the film. If I were a musical artist, I honestly think I would make songs like that all the time, and they would be solely directed at Will. They'd be songs like, when I'm dead, I know you'll be sad forever, and you definitely should be sad forever. And just remember that I might come back as a ghost if you're not sad forever. If you don't do enough dramatic things to mourn me, I might have to come back and do a little haunting, 'cause I need you to be sad forever when I'm gone. When I'm gone. When I'm gone. You better be sad forever. Something like that. Whoa. Or like, I don't know. How many pictures do you have on the walls? Definitely not enough of me. I think you should put up more pictures on the walls, and probably everywhere else in the vicinity. Everywhere should be a picture of me, and please make sure that it's really one where I look pretty. Maybe one of my headshots or the photo shoot from China. Something that I look really fucking good in. Ba-da-ba-ba-beep-beep-beep. Those are pretty good, but
I just want to catch my fish, drive my truck,
that is not the vibe it was giving.
drink my beer. I just want to catch my fish, drive my fish, drink my fish, not wake up. I just want to cut my fish, feed my fish, swear my fish. I just want to catch my dog, drive my dog, drink my dog. I just want to fish my fish, truck my truck, beer my beer. I just want to not wake up. It ain't easy being fish in this country nowadays.
Okay, honestly, that song fucking hits. Dead wife montage? Yes.
I'll be seeing you again. I'll be seeing you again.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Drink my truck, fuck my fish. Drink my fish, I mean, fuck my truck. I mean, fuck my drink and fish my truck. No, back to fuck my truck and fuck my fish. Yeah. And drink my piss, 'cause I might as well. I'm already fucking my truck and my fish. I forgot what I was watching, but there was a dead wife transition. I nearly lost my shit because all I could think of was yours. Yes, I am the OG dead wife. The terrifying possibility of the great filter. I just want to watch like a minute
The
of
great
this.
physicist, legendary Italian physicist, who laid many of the foundations of modern 20th century physics, so-called Fermi-Dirac statistics and all sorts of things. If you do a degree in physics, then you will spend a lot of time revising equations and theories that Fermi did. One of the great legends. The Fermi paradox is it's probably the thing he spent least time on, actually. It's almost one throwaway remark that he delivered. and the question is, where are they? By they, I mean aliens.
Oh,
The great filter. Why civilization?
whoa. That was not what I was expecting. Where are they? They being aliens. Hell yes. Hell yes. So this is the guy who was hired to advise the cast and the crew of Sunshine. And Danny hired him after he saw him on a TV series and was like, that guy. Not that other directors don't do this, but Danny Boyle does this a lot where he sees somebody in something and is like, that person, that's the person that I want. Whether it's an astrophysicist or it's Chris Evans, who's in Fantastic Four. And he's like, that guy, that person. So yeah, he's a renowned physicist, and he advised the filmmakers to scale down the nuclear device in the film from the mass of the moon to the size of Manhattan. In the film's backstory, a cue ball enters and is caught in the sun's Earth, or in the Earth's sun, and begins to eat it away. And according to Cox, the sun would not be dense enough in real life to stop a cue ball, but filmmakers then took creative license. And then in the DVD commentary, which, damn, we need that back. I know we don't really do DVDs, but damn, we need that back. Emily is broken. She's going to retire from streaming. No, she won't. It's fine. It's all good. There's always shit that's happening, but retire eventually, but yeah, don't worry about it. Okay, but anyway, so he said that there were several inaccuracies that were permitted to allow for plot, which I do love. I do love this kind of the concept of drama on a film set with the physicists and science nerds and experts who they hire to consult, right? To like help them shape this fictional film into something that at least resembles real science and how things might actually be. But granted, there are creative licenses that are taken. And just like how much it must kill the person who is hired in that position, in this case, Brian Cox, where it's like, well, look, there's some things that you're willing to part with and then others that you're like, absolutely fucking not. Are you insane? Are you insane? But he did have the film's back and dismissed criticisms of the film by other scientists. And he said, look, Sunshine is not a documentary, okay? It is a fictional film that is an hour and 40 minutes long, and it's trying to get the feeling across of what it's like to not just be a scientist, because there's so much more in that. And so he said it was very funny to see people getting upset because the gravity is wrong in the film. And he was basically like, look, you fucking nerds. Look, you fucking nerds. You gotta let it go. Who gives a shit that the gravity is wrong? Listen, you gravity nerds. Are y'all talking about Project Hail Mary? No, but Project Hail Mary is similar in that the sun is also dying. And a guy, well, multiple people, but it ends up one guy goes on a mission that is a mission they know is a one-way mission to save the sun and save humanity. And their heads didn't explode in space without helmets. Yeah, but scary enough stuff happened. I like when movies work within actual science. It can create interesting situations. Yeah, I'm definitely not a person who's going to be mad that the gravity is wrong. I am more interested in characters and what we got going on, you know, thematically, and all the elements that make up the film. I'm less interested in the accuracy of the science in a sci-fi film. One, because I'm just not a super duper science nerd. Shouts out if you are. It's just it's not my strength, okay? I'm a theater kid, but I like when at least it seems smart. When it seems like, yeah, that feels real enough. Obviously, I think you can usually tell when something is taken with liberties, but yeah, I like it looks smart enough. It looks smart enough. And I just think sometimes you might not have as much fun watching a sci-fi film if you get too lost in the weeds. And if Brian Cox, who's the physicist and is out here talking about Fermi and aliens, if he can say, let it go, let the gravity, let the way that they depicted gravity, you got to let it go. I appreciate the lengths that Interstellar went to with physicist Kip Thorne, but I like Sunshine too. Yeah, and look, Sunshine is really obsessed with the themes of the film. It's very much focused on the philosophical questions, the cosmic horror of the world that they have built out, and the arc of Cillian Murphy's character Kappa, who is representative of somebody who's kind of caught in the middle, I think, certainly at the end, as he embraces the unknown, as he embraces this thing that is so much greater and filled with mysteries that maybe we shouldn't even try to figure out. I just want to kiss my fish. Hell yeah. Then do it. Unless it's weird. Nolan does it all the time. Logic and stuff is ignored for the sake of story. Yeah, I mean, it happens all the time. Especially if you're doing a sci-fi film that mixes in horror, you know? If it's not like purely sci-fi and you're bringing in stuff like cosmic horror, then you're going to get a little funky with it. It's a fictional movie, not a documentary. Yes, and that is exactly what Brian Cox said. Tremors, thank you for the prime. It's soupy out here. Thank you for the 2 months. Let me think any other last. I like the theme of humanity being the biggest hurdle. Yeah, because at the end, you think the sun is the big bad, but then you have this character of Pinbacker, and whether or not you think that was kind of crazy, it still, I think, is an interesting. I think it's an interesting way to show who the real villain is. And this is also like the humanity versus nature. This is hubris, hubris of scientists, hubris of people, hubris that is necessary, like arrogance of scientists that's necessary because you're trying to solve problems in the world. But also it's like a lot of problems that are created by humans. Well, kind of all of them, but problems that are created by humans, but also like how going up against nature requires some semblance of not hubris. It's like of reverence and respect, and that is the character of Michelle Yeoh. Humility. Yes, thank you. That was the word that I could not find. I was like, what is the opposite of hubris? Humility. That is Michelle Yeoh's character, where she is on the spiritual side of the crew, but hers is towards nature. Like she cares. She's plant girl. She loves her plants, and when you see at the end, she holds the plant that made it, one little bud that made it through the destruction, and the significance in that. And then as she's holding that, Pinbacker comes and stabs her in the back. You don't have to be spiritual to be a plant person. That's true. But she definitely treats those plants like they are God. Which, I got to say, if I'm on a mission to blow up the sun in order to save humanity by creating a new sun, and I'm definitely not coming back because we're all going to die, I would probably become like psycho plant girl. I would probably find something like that I could just, I would be like Nicole Kidman with Tweety Bird. Oh, the plants. Oh, look at them. So beautiful. Oh, the plants. Oh, Tweety Bird. Tweety Bird. I thought that she took the plant because she knows she's dying and would become soil for the plant. Well, yeah. I mean, in her final moments, she wants to be with the plant and wants to give the plant. It's all about the plant, right? It's all about that life. It's all about that nature surviving, even in the face of total destruction. I'm going to become best friends with a rock. Yeah. Whatever gets you through. It's how, that she's, even in this like really bleak, dark, horrifying moment, that she hangs on to her faith. She hangs on to the thing that she has held on to throughout the whole mission. She just wanted to kiss her plant. Okay, you know what? That too. She's like, I don't have a fish, so I guess this will have to do. I just want to kiss my plant. I just want to kiss my plant.
My name is Caroline. My name is Caroline.
My name is Caroline. My name is Caroline.
Okay, sure.
It's nice to meet. My name is Caroline. It's nice to meet
I'm
you.
not really super concerned about people's voices that are like just.
Caroline. My name is Caroline. My name is Caroline.
Is there like a sing-song one?
My name is Caroline.
What the fuck is this?
It's nice to meet you.
And why do I look like an
My
old
name is
Asian auntie?
Caroline. My name
Tomodachi life? Why is there this photo of me? Okay, this is a pretty nice photo. So as to go back to Will having pictures of me all over, this is one that he can use. You and Sam are getting along.
It's weird, but I fly out of bed in the morning, ready to take on the day.
Trust me, you fly out of bed at about noon. Let's be honest. Okay, let's introduce you to every.
Okay, that is not true. I have been waking up earlier. I usually have been getting up around 9:30. It's just that night I smoked myself into a weed coma and I slept through my alarm. And yeah, I woke up when she came into my house.
Everybody on the island. Hey guys, there is a new person. Are they gonna make their way over there on their own? Here, you gotta go
She's doing the thing. She's doing, which mind you happens. Yes, exactly. Sam is doing the thing where, oh, I'm Sam. I've been going on my runs. I've been going to bed earlier. I've been waking up at 9. Look at me. Oh, I'm super runner girl and waking up before noon. Guess what? Her ass is going to be right back to going to bed at 4 a.m. and waking up at noon. Oh, yeah. Oh, just you wait. Just you wait. Then it'll be like, I gotta get back to go to sleep. Because that's how it works. That is how it goes down. You think that you get your shit together and you're not going to bed at 4 a.m. And then you're right back there. You're like, how did this happen? How am I back to my same bullshit? Look, I'm always going to be a night person. I just prefer to be a night person who's a little bit earlier. A little bit earlier. Did you ever go into your perspective on this story?
You know, giving me the wave, and I kind of throw one back at her, and she looks at me like this, and I threw her a little. I snapped off a little wink because she smiled.
He has told this story to every single person in our life.
And I swear to you, I have never experienced this. I don't know if Caroline has told this story yet, because I would love to hear her unadulterated version of it. But this woman came up to the window of the car, and I thought she was about to give us instructions. And she goes, young woman, do you know how lucky you are? Look at this hot man you got in the car. He looks like a young Brad Pitt. My God. And then she looked at my car and she goes, and he's rich. Sheesh. Get out of here before I take him from you. And I went. And Caroline was like, what?
You should have said, take him. Okay, when I tell y'all, he has been riding that high. Well, here's the first thing I said. When she said he looks like a young Brad Pitt, I went, well, minus the abuse. I don't know if she really heard me, but Will has been riding this high from this thing that happened. It did happen. It did happen exactly how he told it. Where we're just sitting in the car waiting to get into the parking lot for the Dodgers game. I didn't see him wink at this woman, but next thing I know, an older black woman comes over and she says exactly that. She's like, he looks like a young Brad Pitt. Do you know how lucky you are? Like, basically, Will then afterwards turned to me. He's like, yeah, you are pretty lucky, aren't you? I was like, oh God, here we go. Here we fucking go. No, this was after the car chase. Yeah. See, he's like, do you know that he's like, do you know how many women would be so happy to be with me and put up with all the farting and everything? And I was like, well, I'm telling you right now, that woman who said that you looked like a young Brad Pitt, who said that if I didn't, I don't know, hold on to you, or that she would take you, she would get your ass into formation so quick. If you try to pull some of the shit that you pull, she wasn't thinking about the farting. If you try to pull some of the shit that you pull, the Will Neff habits that come along with the whole package, guarantee she would send your ass to boot camp. Yeah. Handro Raw, thank you for the 42 months. Gaylor, thank you for the 14 months. No, it was a sweet and funny moment. I was very taken aback because, like I said, I did not see the wink in the first half, and so I just saw her come over and then say what she said, and it just took me by surprise. I couldn't I couldn't really. Why is he winking? I think she was like. I think she was kind of looking, and then he just did one of those, like, you know, like, "Hey, Queen," and then she came over and was like, "He looks like young Brad Pitt," which I think Will's incredibly handsome. He has a lot of doppelgangers. I don't think he looks like Brad Pitt. You think he kind of does? Obviously, I think Will's a hottie, but I don't think one of his doppelgangers is a young Brad Pitt. I kind of wonder if that was like the only white, the first famous white guy that she thought of, where it's just like, yeah, Brad Pitt, you know what? That works. Like, here's this white guy who's handsome. Who's a handsome white guy? Brad Pitt. There you go. I think she was saying he looks like a hot movie star. Yes. That's what she was saying. They vaguely have the same coloration. Do you mean white? Do you mean white? Excuse me, Will is not white. He's ginger. Yeah, that's correct. Pull up Brad Pitt and Legends of the Fall. No, I think they're just both white. Y'all are doing white man blindness. Y'all are doing white man blindness. But it was very sweet. It was very sweet, and she was saying that he's handsome and charming and has money. And you know what? Back to if I become dead wife, you know, the whole me do I need to run back some of the songs? I'm like, well, Will, at least you've already got somebody who come in and take over. Just make sure that there are plenty of pictures of me everywhere. That it's like you open the refrigerator. There's pictures on the refrigerator, and you open the refrigerator, and there's pictures in the refrigerator as well. Yep. All right, y'all. I would love to keep chatting and giggling and laughing. I have to go deal with some personal stuff. I gotta go deal with that. Yeah. So thank you for joining me tonight. And this is a good break from the personal stuff I've been dealing with. So glad we got to watch this film. Sorry if there's anything I forgot. You know what happens is, like, every time I watch, I just need to write stuff down as I'm going along, because as I'm watching the film, I'm like, ooh, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about that. And then inevitably I'll end stream and be like, damn it, I never mentioned this thing. But I thought that was a fun discussion. Gave you a couple musical numbers. What more can we ask for? Truly, just trying to do it all. Say hi to Farley for us. I will. Thank you. I will see you all tomorrow night. And tomorrow is the number one holiday. It is 420. So Chuggies, Skullho, all my 420 adherents, and there's a lot of y'all in here. Plenty of y'all. Tomorrow is your day. Tomorrow is your day. Are we doing something? Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to grow weed on stream. I'm going to figure it out. Just going to do it. No instructions. Just going for it. Kind of crazy, but that's what I'm about. All right, I'm sending you to Sam with whatever the hell she's doing over there. I will see you all mañana. Thank you for joining me. Bye.